Hi everyone, happy Chanukah. I want to share an idea, something that I've been thinking about from based on the teachings of Rabbi Yitzchak Ginzburgh. I've been zocha to listen to his classes and to see him in person. One major thing that Rav Ginzburgh has been pushing for in the recent years is the fourth revolution, which is about the time when the Jewish people change their perspective and look to the non-Jews with a welcoming arms, and they say, come on home, welcome, come back. We want to teach you the way of the Torah and the secrets of the Torah. We want to give you an opportunity to taste for yourselves what the Torah has to offer you for your life, for your connection to God. So this idea that I've been thinking about, that really came to me, as a gift from God, is based on Rav Ginsburg's idea about the fourth revolution, and hopefully maybe someone will hear it and be inspired. So here it goes. Basically, I work as a scribe, a sofer, and I try to study the laws, the halachot that are connected to being a sofer, and I have a schedule, to finish all the laws three times a year, and it just happened to be that the other day, very very interesting halacha, a very interesting law that had to do with preparing the skins of the kosher animal, in order to prepare them to be used for tefillin, or Sefer Torah, or mezuzot, or to be used to make the straps of the tefillin, things like that. Just all these holy items. The halacha says that the Shulchan Aruch brings two opinions. The first one is the Rambam, and the Rambam says you're not allowed to use a non-Jew to make to make kosher parchment, or to prepare the skins, putting it in the lime in order to process it and take off the hair. That's like what would make it a kosher skin, is by doing the proper preparation. The Rambam says a non-Jew is not allowed to do it. What's the reason? Because a non-Jew, like almost intrinsically, thinks about themselves, and they wouldn't be able to, even if they say that they're gonna do you a favor and think about the mitzvah, in order for their job to be considered a kosher, klaf, tefillin, or the like. It's you still can't believe that they're going to really do it for the right reason, and therefore it's not allowed. The Rush, he says not like that. The Rush says that since it's such a minute amount of work, and right then all he needs to have is just the time right when you put it in. They take the skin and you put it into the lime. That's when you need to have an intention, and not the whole time when you're working. Just that first minute, just that first second when you're putting it in, to have that attention. And the Jew could stand there and tell him, we're doing it for the sake of a mitzvah. Then it's not such a big deal. The Rush says for that 1 minute he could listen. So I kind of was very excited by this idea, and I felt like that almost like this halacha. It seems like this halacha is like almost the halacha of the non-Jew. It's like this is the halacha, because you could say on the other side, where do you see a halacha that has to do with a non-Jew? You could see sometimes when, let's say, on Shabbat, where if something needs to be done, you could, in certain situations, use a non-Jew to ask a non-Jew to do something which would be not allowed to be, permissible for a Jew to do it, but a non-Jew would be able to do it. So it's kind of like that would be taking away from Judaism almost. It's like the fact that he's not a Jew, so therefore he could do it. If he would be a Jew, he can't do it. Now you have something here that a Jew could do it, and also a non-Jew could do it somehow. It's like it's something almost it kind of this law, these halachas were kind of telling me, 1 second, maybe this is the main place in the Torah, in the law, in the Jewish law, where it relates to what's the nature of a non-Jew. What's the nature of the non-Jewish person's soul? So to continue on this, and at the end, I hope to connect everything and to kind of not leave it in a way of black and white, but also to show how much we need the non-Jew, how much we need the non-Jew to understand how we have to change our view in how we view the non-Jew, because we in ourselves have a part of our soul which operates in that same exact way. Even though if you look in the words of the sages, it could sound like it's like kind of derogatory, but in a certain sense, we have that same approach that we have to relate to ourselves and to every Jew in that same way. And so just to continue, by the story of Yaakov, there's already two places where more on this topic kind of could be exposed. But the story of Yaakov, we see that when Yaakov got the bracha from his father, from Yitzchak blessed him. He said, 1 second, he said, I have it here, Vayiten lecha Elokim. Said God, Elokim, like a language of judgment, He will give you good, all the abundance, the dew of heaven, the fat of the earth, all the good things. So, and then the Rashi brings up on this exact pasuk. He says, why does he use the language of judgment, like the name of God of judgment, Elokim? The reason is because Hashem. Because the nature of Yaakov and the nature of the Jew is that of emunah, is that of faith, and even if things are not working out well, he'll be okay. But Esav and the nature of, I would say, of the non-Jew is that if something's not working well, then it's incredibly difficult to hang on. It's incredibly difficult to hang on if things are not working well. And this is just, I'm not familiar. I'm not in touch with the non-Jewish world. But this is just a study from the inner texts that we've been learning for thousands of years. And even if it's not true for every single non-Jew out there, there still is an overall truth which the sages are definitely hitting onto, and it needs to be understood and interpreted in the right way, that it's obviously the sweetest and not something that's bitter or harsh or disconnecting. Obviously, if Rabbi Yitzchak Ginzburgh is coming to bring the Torah to the non-Jews, he's not coming to give the Torah to the non-Jews because they're so horrible and they're so difficult and they're so challenging and they're so this and they're so lost and so far, and so it's because this is what the point of the world is about. It's all leading in that direction, and everything's leading in the direction of good and more good. So there's this theme by the brachas. You see that by the brachas of Yitzchak, and when you give to Yaakov and Esav, that Yaakov has kind of patience. Yaakov has a certain patience and emunah, faith, and Esav doesn't have that. So he needs it right away. It's almost like instant gratification, which is very, very similar to the law that we learned. That if it's just for that 1 second, according to the Rashi, if you could just do it for that 1 second, then it's okay. It's almost like if it's right then, he could do it. But if it's a long thing, forget about it. He can't. So another Rashi, when Yaakov meets up with Esav and Esav is trying to kill him, he says the pasuk says that he runs over to him and he hugs him, he falls on his neck, and he kisses him. And on the word kisses, there's dots. In the actual Sefer Torah, there's dots on top of the word Vayishakeu. He kissed him. And on that, the Rashi brings two opinions. One opinion says that he was, maybe he was faking, that it wasn't his with his whole heart that he kissed him. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, he says that really the halacha it's a halacha. Maybe I'll go back and explain. Halacha hi biyadua she Esav sones Yaakov. It's a halacha. It's known that Esav hates Yaakov, which is already not halacha. It's kind of just known. What does that have to be a halacha? But at that moment, his heart was overwhelmed with compassion, with love, and he really kissed him with all his heart. So here, I'd like to say, which halacha were we talking about over here? What's the halacha? He's saying it's known, this, that, and then he says a story. But at that moment, so where was the halacha? So I'd like to say that what's the halacha? The halacha that we're talking about is the halacha that we learned about the klaf. That a goy is able to do it for 1 second. If you just, for that 1 second, that their patience, their spiritual patience is very short, but for that 1 second they can do it. Also, Esav really hates Yaakov. He really does. But if you just 1 second, and after all that he saw, for so much build up with Yaakov bowing down to him and all the gifts he sent him, he sees him. Even though he hates him, he's going against everything that he stands for in his life, the material world. And Yaakov is a spiritual man with values and ethics and the connection to God. He hates him, but at that moment, something opens up for him for a moment. Okay. The next thing I think to connect with this would be. Every single person has this non-Jewish soul in them. Everyone has this part of them that doesn't have any long-term view. And according to the Tanya, they call it the nefesh habahamis, the animal soul. Again, the animal. Which animal we're talking about? You can say it's a kosher animal, not kosher animal. Say it's the animal that we're talking about is the animal which could be used. It could be turned into klaf. It could be part of the situation. It could be part of the spiritual. It could be part of the creation of something very holy. Be brought into the holiness. It could have a direct input into something holy. It could bring itself in, not just on the side, but really that the let's say the animal or a non-Jew. I'm saying what we're talking about the mashal, like the parable. I'm saying would be the animal, which is the animal we're using to turn into klaf. But the I guess the connection to this parable would be the non-Jewish soul. So a person. Everyone has in themselves two souls, a godly soul and an animalistic soul. That animalistic soul is not a bad soul. It doesn't have patience. It doesn't see long term. It sees short term. And things have to be very, very clear and very, very quick in order for it to understand. In order for it to also go along. You have to kind of speak the language of the nefesh habahamis, of the animal soul. So it's as it's known in the Tanya, it's there's two paths. There's the short path which is long, and the long path which is short. You could think that what do I want to do? I want to get somewhere. I want to take the shortest path. So that you could think that. According to the Tanya, that's not the way about it. The way to go. The way to go is to take the long path, which is short. So you could interpret this. You could say that the short path, which is really long, is the path of the animal soul. That the animal soul sees things short. It sees things only the short. It can't go for the long story. It can't go with higher belief and with long belief. But if you really, really put it short, say just right now, as you put it in, think that this is for the mitzvah, he could do it. He sees Yaakov, he says, okay, right that second he has the compassion. But we don't want that. We want the long path, which means that no matter what, even if things are bumpy along the way, I'm still able to keep faith. And then it really turns out short at the end. At the end, you end up having that short connection. The connection that you get there very quick. It's not that it's going to be long and it will always be long. It's that the path is long, but it will be short. And another thing you could say, to bring things kind of closer, you say that the long path, which is really short, that really the real point of this whole process was that it should be short. And that means that for the soul of a non-Jew, that they're more difficult, they're more challenging, meaning they have less patience. The main point, the point of it all, meaning maybe the messianic world, would be that even then, the light of God will be able to be revealed to them, short, in a way that they'll be able to understand it. And this is connected. There's a connection to this. Would be it says in the Torah a lot of times to love the ger, someone who leaves their past and they become a Jew. There's a very, very strong commandment to love them and to care for them, because it's so easy for them to, if they encounter a struggle, their way is that they don't have the patience almost to deal with the complexity, and they're much more prone to going back to their old ways. So there's a special commandment to help them to stay in the Jewish way, to stay in the long path until it gets short. To hold on, even though it's challenging. This is another idea which has to do with Channuka. I thought it's maybe a little bit novel, a little bit of like a new, like a chidush, and it's obviously not the main way of reading this Chazal. But it says about the Greeks that they issued a decree. One of the decrees that they issued against the Jews at the time was that the Jews had to take the horn of an ox and write on it, and this kisvu al keren ashur, write on the horn of an ox, she'ein lachem chelek be'elokei Yisrael, that you don't have a portion in the God of Israel. Okay, so now the main understanding is, right, that you don't believe. I don't believe. But I'm thinking, just reading it a little bit differently, according to what we're teaching now. Kisfu al keren ashur, write it on the ox of Ashur, which again, this ox is a kosher animal. This is the sugya. This is the main idea, the main place, which I feel like the main source in the Torah law for the nefesh habahamis, for the soul of the non-Jew, and how they have ability to be connected. And the Chazal says that this is one of the decrees that they had, right on the horn. And we just heard from Rabbi Ginzburgh on Yutes Kislev that Keren means the essence, right on the essence of a shore, right on the essence of an ox, of the animal which could be used to make a Sefer Torah, and also right on the essence of a non-Jew. She'ein lachem chelek be'elokei Yisrael, that you, who's ein lachem, meaning that the non-Jews don't have any connection to the God of Israel. Not that the Jews don't have a connection to the God of Israel. They should write on the essence of the ox, that they don't have a connection to the thing. That an animal is an animal. That a not kosher animal is a not kosher animal. He can't get himself into Judaism. He's not connected at all. That I want to try to twist the theme over here and say that the Greeks were fed up. They said, enough with this fourth revolution. You come out with a declaration saying that every non-Jew, you get what you get, you see what you see. There's no connection to the soul. There's no connection to the Torah. That a non-Jew does not have a connection to the God of Israel. They're non-Jews. They're non-Jews. They're not Jews. There's a lot of different religions. What do they have to be connected to the God of Israel? You promise me that you write on every single cow that they don't have a thing, because that's the main sugya. The main sugya, the main topic of the non-Jew is in this place. That's how you call it a vort. It's like a vort. Maybe it's true. Maybe not. And just to finish, the Gemara, the Talmud says that the final test, which is really this kind of proves this whole idea, from the beginning to the end. The final test that the non-Jews will have at the end of days, God will, according to this Agartha, God will give a final test to the non-Jews. He'll say, do the mitzvah of sukkah. Go into a sukkah. Okay? All the non-Jews that they wanted to, they said, well, why didn't we get a chance? We didn't have a chance to connect, to change our ways, to be part of this incredible thing, which is Judaism, the Torah. So he says, okay, we get one more chance. Go into the sukkah, and that way you'll be able to have your, if you're able to do this commandment, this one commandment properly, then you'll be saved. So the Gemara says that they went into the sukkah, and then God takes out the sun from its casing, and it gets very hot. And the non-Jews, the end of this Gemara kind of, it's like forecasting, or maybe just kind of showing something about the nature. I'm not sure if it's necessarily what needs to be like that maybe, what will be, or this is the nature and this needs to be dealt with. This is what needs to, how we need to interact, what we need to realize what we're up against in order to help the non-Jews. So he says that it gets very hot. All the non-Jews come out of the sukkah, and on the way out of the sukkah, because it says in the law that if someone is uncomfortable in the sukkah, they don't have to fulfill the mitzvah of sukkah. They're ready, they're not obligated to keep the mitzvah. If it's very hot, very raining, if it's not the same way that you would live in your house, then you're not obligated to keep the mitzvah of sukkah. So they were very hot. It was like probably the hottest temperature that ever could possibly, be in the world. The sun, is taken out of its out of its casing, but on the way out, they kick the sukkah. If they kick the sukkah, so they failed the test. It's like the soul of the non-Jew. They need to learn this patience. They have to see that even though I don't understand, even though it's not working for me, I need to be able to kind of find this place in myself, which really maybe this place in ourselves, the kind of going outside of yourself, going out of being an animal, going out of just being another piece of flesh and DNA, and to realize that there's a part of us which goes beyond the physical, part of us that goes beyond the physical, which is the soul, and maybe the channel for this, the Jewish soul, which is now open for everyone to connect to, and the Jewish soul is trying to give a person the ability to open their mind and see something broader than what their animalistic eyes could see. Something that I could have more patience. I could endure more because I know that God is leading me in the right direction. And even if I can't see it, I know that that's what my soul is capable of doing. It's capable of taking my energy, my body, and telling it, take it easy. It's not all what you see. It's not all what you feel in yourself. There's something greater. There's something bigger, and that's the soul, the Jewish soul. So again, every single Jew, non-Jew, has the same issue that needs to be dealt with. It's really to overcome the forces of forces of bad with the forces of good, or even the forces of just not of not being connected. Even if it's very mild, but it's not connected to God in every single way, it needs to be reconnected to its source. So we have the soul of a Jew, which also needs to be spoken to in a certain way. It needs to be addressed in a way that would inspire it to broaden the horizons and to become more faithful, and not to be stuck in the small mindset, but to be able to, like a Jew says that in the halacha, going back to the halacha, that it brings that a non-Jew would not be able to paint black the skin of the cow, to paint the skin of the cow black in order to be used as straps for the tefillin. A non-Jew would not be able to do, because for that you need to have in every single stroke you have to have faith. Every single stroke, even if you don't understand it, you're still part of the game. And the Jewish soul is able to hang on and have faith even in long spurts, even in difficult times. And we have a lot of experience, unfortunately, 2,000 years of exile that we've dealt with so much, but somehow we kept our faith. And not every single Jew is on the outside expressing this faith, but it's the same thing. The inner faith, that inner faith that the Jew represents, is that I can hang on to something that I don't see with my eyes, that I have a soul inside of me which is greater than my physical boundaries. And in that way we could bring in the animal soul and also the non-Jew into the way of the Torah, by just getting them to realize that this is your connection. Here's your connection. You could be the white on the Sefer Torah, the background of the whole Sefer Torah. It could all be from you. Realize that just from one moment. To be a real active player, you have to join with all your being. You have to go the full step. You have to think all the time to bring your faith into actuality, to bring that faith into your life in every single way. That's by living as a Jew, by having the commandments, like Rabbi Ginzburgh said that he brought it from, I think maybe a letter of the Rambam, that they told a non-Jew to say Shema every day. To say Shema, even though Shema Yisrael, here Israel, here are the Jewish people, but he's a non-Jew. But through the Jewish people, a non-Jew could start to build more and more of a connection. The Jewish people are like the ones who are able to write the letters in the Torah, and every letter in the Torah is like the soul of a Jew. Like the sources of the souls of the Jew are in the Torah, and a goy has the ability to be connected to that white behind the background, whether they want to be connected. And if they want to be connected, they could see themselves as being an active part of the background, to be happy with their active part in the background, not to be a negative background, but to be part of the background, to give themselves, and also to try to participate in being part of the letters, to be part of the Torah, part of the story, part of the foreground, the forefront of how God relates to the world, by connecting themselves actively to Judaism. Hope it was understood, and have a happy Chanukah.